Hi, guys. Brandon here, coming to you with another episode of the Really, Really Badly podcast. This is episode 2. It's entitled Friendships. Me and Travis just start to unpack what we like about friendships, what makes them awesome, and maybe what we can do to make them a little better. Today's day and age with a lot of more surface level friendships, it's all online, it's all through a screen. How can we delve deeper and have good, meaningful, life-giving friendships? So thank you for joining us. This is Really, Really Badly.
Want to hear a cool story?
I would love to hear a cool story.
You know, sometimes you have those days that just think everything goes wrong, and it's just kind of like you have to be like I'm over this day.
Yeah.
Today, cause I was in Denver for the weekend, and I kind of rushed out of here because I left on Friday and I didn't get to leave as early as I wanted to because my day was pretty busy. So I left a lot of things undone here, but I just got home. And I was like, I have to eat. I don't have any kind of food or anything. And I had some dishes laying out that I hadn't washed, which is not like me. So that's already done. So I rush in. I'm like, okay, I got to get the oven on because I have a frozen pizza that I was gonna cook. And then I open the fridge, and there's half of a previous frozen pizza that I thought I had finished, but I hadn't. So I was like, yes, I don't have to wait 20 minutes for my food. And then I went and opened the cupboard, and I had exactly one plate left, and I was like, yes, I still have a plate since I didn't do dishes over the weekend. And then after I ate my pizza, I was still feeling hungry, and I was like, I've got some milk I need to use. Today is the last day that it says it'll be good. And so I had exactly enough cereal left in the box for one bowl of cereal. And then when I opened the cupboard, I had exactly one bowl left, and I was just like, yes. Boom,
Nice.
boom, boom, boom. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's the little victories.
Exactly.
They keep you going. Yeah.
Totally.
That's awesome. Yeah. We, so the weather here in Vancouver has been really weird. Yesterday it was looking like spring again, and I took my whole break during work just to sit in a sunbeam, and it was great. And then this morning it was snowing like crazy.
Oh, wow.
And, we were all sitting around, and it was really wet, heavy snow, slushy, And me and my roommates are just watching and commenting on the snow. And I was like, guys, what's really happening right now is that it's raining, but it's cold enough. This is my super scientific explanation. It's cold enough to turn it into snow. That's what's really happening.
As it's falling.
Yeah, and in my mind, this was a really scientific way to explain what was happening. But they were like, "Yeah, that's what snow is. That's what happens every time it snows." Yeah, good point.
You're like, man, I'm only 200 years behind here on this thought.
I know. But at least something stuck with me from, what would that be? Geography, biology? No, not biology.
Maybe Earth Sciences. Or science class or something.
Anyway, science.
Yeah, anyway.
Whoa.
So, this is officially, I guess, episode 2 of the Really, Really Badly podcast.
Yeah.
Now that we've settled on a name that I think we're both quite the fans of.
Yeah. How you feeling about it? Sitting good?
I know, it's still sitting good, dude. Yeah. It still makes me laugh every time I think about it. But no, the name's awesome. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the name. I like the name too. Every time I really stop and think about it, I have to go and watch a clip of SpongeBob or something.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
totally.
This is too good.
Yeah. Well, I really need to warm up on my quotes, SpongeBob quotes for this. We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about friendships, and it might be a little too broad of a topic. We might have to do some follow-up episodes about it because I could totally see this going us wanting to go 100 different ways with this, which is good though, because it'll help spur on ideas. But I was talking with Megan, that we were going to talk about this, and one of the suggestions she had was to just kind of define what friendship is, to us personally, but as we start talking, so people kind of have a context of what you and I are talking about. And I like that idea. So if you don't mind me just starting out by asking you, how would you define friendship?
Yeah, I guess I would define friendship as just kind of a shared relationship that you have with someone, like kind of a mutual admiration of each other. And it can start with like having things in common with people, you kind of like, you're interested in the same sort of thing. You meet someone, whether it's through school or through doing an activity you like, there can be that shared interest, but then it kind of goes that step further where you find out like, oh, not only are you interested in the same sort of stuff, but you also kind of like think similarly to me, or you have similar interests that kind of go beyond this one thing, or I don't know. Yeah. So it's kind of like connection on a few different levels. And that can be, purely, it can be like a mental connection, a spiritual connection, it can kind of be lots of different connections. I guess that's how I would loosely define it. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I liked what you said about different levels of connection. Because the first thing I thought about when I was trying to think of like how would I define this was, well, that it can look like I can call a friend, like, I could say I'm friends with somebody, but that could look totally different friend to friend, right? I've got, kind of more like what I would call like, like a surface level ish friendship where like maybe we have a common interest. There's a guy I'm, would call friends with at work. We've gone, rock climbing at a gym together. And he's an interesting guy, but we probably don't have much in common as far as like, our like views on life, I would say, through some of our conversation, or, I don't think he's, of like a particular religion or anything, and that's something that is important to me. So I would say we have this common kind of thread of like we enjoy doing the same sorts of activities, and he finds me funny and I find him funny, so we've got that in common. But more of just like a kind of, I don't want to use the word shallow because that sounds negative, but we enjoy each other's company. But if we didn't have something to do together, it might get like a little awkward after a little while, right? Whereas, I've got friends like you or Landon where, spending an extended amount of time with you guys, days at a time or whatever, wouldn't be awkward at all. Like we wouldn't have to be constantly interacting because there's a lot more to our friendship other than like the common interests or the things that we're doing together. Of course, those things are definitely enjoyable with you guys, but it's so much better because we have, we've been a part of each other's lives for so long. We know a lot about each other. We've seen each other's struggles, and there's a lot more depth there, a lot more history, and I think there's an aspect of like love with those friendships, and not like romantic love, but like just a friendship type love where, you don't need to be doing something with that person to enjoy being around them. You just inherently enjoy these people.
Totally. I think the word for it. Oh, sorry.
No,
go ahead.
Go for it. Totally go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say like I think there's a word called phileo love. I think it is. I should have looked up the origin, but yeah, it basically means like brotherly love, sort of like platonic, but like deep sort of admiration or whatever. I guess that's the word for it.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna look up the definition on like Webster here just to maybe get more of a baseline as well. And
yeah, do it up.
You gotta love when like they use the word in the definition, but the definition of friendship according to like the dictionary is the state of being friends, the quality or state of being friendliness, which is kind of funny because that's just very not helpful. So I guess We talked a little bit about, we are mostly gearing what we're talking about, at least now, towards, people our age, people in the same stage of life, or, just very generally, you could say the millennial generation. And so what have been, or what would you say are maybe some like observations you would compare or contrast friendships nowadays, or our friendships with, I don't know, classical friendship, or maybe looking at like our parents and their friendships or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I only have my experience to go off of, right? And so, it'll look different for everyone. What I've kind of observed is that a lot of millennials, or kind of the younger crowd, they tend to, I've just noticed, like, it seems that those friendships that are kind of a little one-dimensional, I wouldn't even say shallow, but just they only kind of have that one connection, that one level or whatever. I find that that's a bit more common for a lot of people our age than it is to have, really, really close, like, intimate friends where like spans, where the friendship can last a long time, sort of thing. And just going with the term friend, like, I have 550 friends according to Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
Like, in this new, I mean, we'll probably talk about that a bit later on, social media, but the word friend is kind of lightly tossed around now and then, like,
right.
if you were to randomly pick someone on my friends lists on Facebook, like, and say, okay, them, how well do you know them? Like, on average, I probably would be like, like, I know them from that job I used to work, for that one summer when I was back in college, like, and obviously you might land on someone who I know very well, and, we talk all the time, but yeah, that's kind of, and so anyways, I've kind of found that trend is more, it's kind of the state of friendships now, if we're going to make a totally broad generalization. But yeah.
No, I think so too. I mean, yeah, same thing. If the amount of people who social media would say I have friends with versus, like, if I like sat here and like listed off my closer friends, would be vastly different. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. I was looking at some, I was just curious because, like, as I was jotting down a few ideas just before we Skyped, I was like, are these assumptions I have about our generation actually, like, backed up by data? So I actually I looked at some numbers. The average number of friends that in ages 18 to 29 back in 2003, and friends was described as like people that you'd really trust, sort of thing.
Right.
This is like some Oxford study.
Nice.
They did this. It was, the number was around 8.5.
Okay.
So yeah, you have one half friend. And the number now is actually is down to like 2 or 3 of like average people, ages 18 to 29. They say that they would only really trust like 2 or 3 friends, to like take care of their house or their dog, maybe not, but you know what I'm saying, like really trust someone, sort of thing. Like, the number's kind of gone down, which is interesting because we have hundreds of friends on Facebook.
Right. Well, and we have more ways to communicate. I mean, we have more ways to keep in touch with people than ever before, right? Skype, doing this, talking long distance, like, that's really interesting. Numbers. Yeah.
So many more ways to communicate. You'd feel like that number would stay the same.
Right.
Or something. I don't know. Yeah. That 8.5 number, I mean.
Right. Yeah. No, and I that's fascinating. I would not have thought that, actually, when you were just about to say that. I thought you were going to say the study was going to say that, like, people would say they have way more friends but their definition of friendship would have changed from someone you really, really trust to someone you hang out with. So I thought you were going one way, and then you juked.
I juked. Dodged.
And I think one thing to note too, I mean, kind of the reason I think, at least I wanted to talk about this subject was I think that like friendship has a significant role in my own life, and I would say probably in yours as well. And I think we are if you were just to take like a statistics or something, you and I would probably be outliers in the fact that we have probably more than average and deeper than average friendships with those around us. I would venture to say, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like we had a incredibly close and solid group of people in high school who, to this day, we still hang out with and still have these like deep relationships with. And I'm not saying that doesn't like ever happen and we're like some kind of crazy special, but like I just think on average, a lot of the people I talk to are surprised that, I would say like my best friend Brandon, we went to high school together, or that like my group of high school friends still get together from time to time, and I think I've seen that.
Well, and
yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like what a difference it must make, because like, like I feel very privileged to have lived the life I did, but high school was a blast. Like it was actually quite fun. I mean, it had its challenges, absolutely, but just when I talk about high school with most people, they're just like, oh man, high school was so terrible,
right?
And fair enough. I mean, I like apparently it's supposed to be terrible, because you got all these hormones and stuff. But what I'm saying is like it can really make a difference, when you have close friends, I guess.
Yeah.
There must be some correlation there.
Right. No, absolutely. Because I'd say the same thing. Like I thought high school was like great and fantastic. Like I never like dreaded like, just life on a regular basis in high school. And I think a lot of that was due to just the close friendships that I had. And, I mean, I think relationships in general, particularly the close ones, are just one of the more significant things that you can choose to invest yourself in in life in general. And then, I mean, it's interesting, right? Those statistics going down from, like 8.5 to 2 to 3 or whatever. Like, I think it's important now more than ever that, I don't know, people understand, or, I don't know, like that we just talk about it. That we talk about, like, I feel particularly, blessed to have the experiences I had, because I think it contributed to a lot of who I am now. But I think as life's gone on, I've come to the conclusion that just more and more that's what matters, like more than most anything else in life, more than my success, or I mean, it's what truly brings, I think, like a lot of like purpose and happiness and joy to my own life is the friendships that I have. And it's just sad to me, or it's bothering to see so many other people struggling with that, or not feeling like they have that same experience as me. Like, I wish people had that like same just super close people that they could go to. And
yeah, I mean, why do you think I don't know, I guess if you had to like point to a few things that like might lend itself to this problem. I mean, everyone can speak for themselves whether they feel like they're lacking a close friend or not, but I will say that like Vancouver is, I know, one of the loneliest cities that, like just depression rates are high, and part of that's because it is never sunny here, but part of it's also because like people don't talk, they don't hang out, and when they do, it's kind of on that shallower level, so yeah, I mean, when you look at that, those statistics or whatever, like what's one thing that, or a few things that people could do maybe to step out towards a closer friendship?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of it is time.
Mm.
You know, like when I think about my closest friendships, it's not that like we started out with some kind of especially strong bond of commonality, or like, you know, everything we agreed on or everything was in common. It kind of just comes down to we just spent a shit ton of time together. You know, like
Yeah,
I mean, like
totally.
I think of my friend Steve, or Scuba Steve. You know, I was the officiant at his wedding, right? So like pretty close friends here.
Yeah.
And I've told him this many times, and it's still like, I would never deny this, but when I first met him, like he was on my same floor in college, and I thought he was a douche. Like I literally was like, wow, this guy's a douche. Like, and he's way more like sporty, like he's all into like fitness and everything. And the reason we got close was because we worked together in the carpentry department of our school. So we were like driving around the truck doing projects like 2-3 days a week, you know? And so, and again, like, you know, it turns out he became one of my closest friends. Like I love talking to Steve. Like he's awesome. He's hilarious. Like he's been an incredibly like loyal friend, and he's been there for me. And I know he's come to me when things are hard before. And we do have a lot in common now, because I think the more time you spend with someone too, the more you find in common. You know, sometimes we meet people and we're like, oh, we have nothing in common, so we don't even give it a shot. But you know, given enough time, I think overall you will enjoy to like people generally, then get further away from them. And so I think that's a big part of it. And you know, people our age just seem to have less time to spend. And I don't think that that's because we have less time. I think it's because we just make less time in general. I mean, I think that's on us type of thing. Like, you know, I mean, it was hard for me to find the time this weekend, right, to sit down and talk with you for half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever. And that's on me. That's not on like anything else, you know. And I think part of it has to do with, you know, we feel like we have to spend so much time on all these different things that we really in reality don't. You know, you talk social media, you've got you know, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you know, email, whatever. So you've got like these things that you feel like you're divided on. You got to constantly keep up with. You know, you've got your own personal entertainment, whether that's, you know, TV or like video games, or, you know, reading, or, you know, whatever it is that you do in sports. And so I think we just let these distractions kind of seep in. We don't have as much time sitting, just being alone or being still, and that spills over into our friendships as well. You know, I was listening to a podcast earlier this week from The Art of Manliness, and I don't remember exactly what they were talking about, but they touched on relationships with people at one point, and he had this really good phrase. He said, like, relationships have become so transactional nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that term, because it was like, okay, like we meet, we do our thing, and then we're out, you know, and it's that time of not really doing much that really, I think, grows deeper friendships, right? Because you kind of have to push past that like slight awkwardness of just sitting in a room with someone and there's a lull in the conversation or whatever. And I mean, I really think that time is the key thing there. At least I see that in my own life. Because again, right, you said we can only speak for our own experiences, but when I think about all of my closest friends, every single one of them I spent a ton of time with at some point or another, you know. Long, extended
that's
periods
great.
of time.
Totally. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. There's I have all my I used to be in psychology class, and there's a term. I have all my flashcards here on my desk. I'm trying to look for the exact term that this reminds me of, because I'm totally going to butcher it. But I'll take a stab at it because I can't find it right now. But it's this theory that like just the longer you will spend around people, the more you'll grow to like them.
Okay.
And I think it's called exposure theory. I think. If there's psychology students listening, I'm really sorry if that's wrong, but my heart's in the right place. But yeah, it's a thing. And
we call it really, really badly for a reason.
Yeah, it's called really, really badly. We're the junky cereal in your brain food, right?
Yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, and I actually saw that like firsthand at a job recently. Like I was just reminded of that, like same sort of thing like you were talking about. Like when I met this person, I was just like, wow, you really just rubbed me the wrong way. Like it's just a lot, and I don't know. I was just like, I'm not going to get along with this person. I'll be nice. But I found that the longer I spent around them and like just kind of was open, and we did have to spend a lot of time together,
Right.
And just talk with them, and I would definitely consider them a friend now. It's kind of the time sort of thing. It's definitely a factor. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's probably not the only factor. Like, you do also have to be like intentional with each other,
For sure.
about talking about maybe things that are more important than just, because, if you get together with a, fanatic of a, hobby of yours, you could spend your whole time just talking about that hobby. And you may get to become close friends over time. Might take a lot more time. So I think there's other factors too, but I think if there was just one biggest one, I think I would agree that time is kind of huge there,
Totally.
So, I mean, if you have another thought, you should go ahead and jump in here. Otherwise, I kind of have like two questions that I kind of wanted to sort of end on.
Go for it, man.
Okay.
I think we solved friendship already.
We've solved it. If you're listening to this, you better immediately be cured of any kind of like not
Social
having friends.
Yep. Oh.
And if not, then there's something totally wrong with you.
Just kidding. We love you.
I'm not kidding.
Well,
No, I'm
kidding on your behalf.
So, okay. So, my two questions, because obviously we're talking about this for a reason. So, why? So, I would say, one, like, what do you enjoy or have you enjoyed most about your friendships? And then why? Like, why are we talking about this? Why is it important? Why should people, or should people strive to have them, or should they just like let it happen as it happens? Why? So,
okay. Sorry, what was the first one again?
what do you enjoy in yours, like personally? Like, what
do I enjoy in my friendships?
Yeah.
Just I really enjoyed just the spark, and just the inspiration that can come from friendships. Like, there's this quote in Proverbs. I actually looked it up before this. A man of many friends may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And that I kind of like latched onto that verse way early in my life and was like, okay, so maybe I'm an introvert anyway, so my personality kind of lends itself to that idea already. So if you're an extrovert, don't take that too much to heart. Nothing wrong with a lot of friends.
Right.
But I kind of took that to heart and I really would invest in close friendships and try to get to a deeper level. And I found that I get so much back, like not trying to look at it from a transactional standpoint, but just the amount of creative projects I've gotten to do, this being one of them.
Right.
Just because, and I remember you and I wrote that 10-minute long song for the talent show one year,
which we won, by the way.
Yeah, which we won
by a landslide. Now, maybe the competition wasn't as good, but like whatever, we killed it.
We killed it. And that like just came about by us, sitting around like not doing anything and just, you want to write a song about John? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I want to write a song about John. Yeah, and so if you feel stagnant or kind of uninspired, like your friends can really get you there, and help you out with that. If you're feeling down or depressed, like having someone that you can just honestly talk to, and even if you're too afraid to like take that first step, like having friends who will say, "Hey man, how you doing?" And when you say, "Oh yeah, fine," they say, "How are you doing?"
Right.
Like, no, I really want to know. Like, don't brush me. Like, if you have friends like that, oh my gosh, like what a difference that can make.
Yeah.
And if you are a friend like that, you get so much out of that too.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I would just say the inspiration and getting poured back into, by humans you really enjoy. I guess that would be kind of my broad answer to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I think they are very synergistic like that, you know, and that's a cool. It's a cool thing. Um, nice.
Yeah. What would you say to that one?
Man, I enjoy. I mean, there's so much. It's kind of a dumb question because there's so much to enjoy. But like, I mean, I think I would enjoy conversations, just getting to know someone on a deeper level and being known yourself on a deeper level is hugely fulfilling. I think my friends played a huge role in just being there for me when the weirdness of life started, you know, in high school, junior high area. And then that just continued throughout college. A lot of friends have just probed at me and what's going on inside. And that has been huge because I don't typically kind of like just do that on my own, I guess. Or I don't like just naturally kind of know what's going on with myself. Like I have to talk it through. And so friends have been there, you know, hugely in that aspect of my life. And then, yeah, I think so in that sense, like I think, they've helped me grow and they've also helped me to just really be comfortable in who I am. Cause you know, most of my friends are just totally, or like the close ones are just non-judgmental. Like I can just be whoever I want to and figure it out. I can say outrageous things and joke and I don't know. But I think I get that, just that vulnerability, like depth that is really fulfilling. Someone who can listen to whatever it is, whether it's a really messed up, like dark thing going on, or whether they can just enjoy like your ridiculous sense of humor because you guys share that together. You know, like those things are good. Like just the whole range of emotions, getting to share with somebody, I think is what I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what was the other question?
Yeah. So why do we think that this is an important topic to talk about? You know, why are they important?
I mean,
friendship's important. Well, and I mean, obviously, like a lot of the reasons we just gave are kind of like self-explanatory. Like, of course, like we think it's important because you get someone who you can share joy with, who you can share sadness with, who you can be there for, and have someone to be there for you, someone that you can go to with. You know, especially for people who may not have like family members who they would feel comfortable doing that with or feel as close with. So like obviously like those reasons too. And I guess I would say, kind of going back to that, I think relationships are the most significant thing you can pour yourself into in your life. It's something that I just think we were naturally made to desire and want and to pursue. And I think that they're fulfilling. You know, when I think about why I'm doing what I do, like if I just go to work and for myself and just spend my money only on myself and don't interact with other people, like that sounds terrible to me. And I've gone through seasons where like I've been away from friends or been in a place where I didn't have friends, and those were like just the worst seasons of my life. They were lonely, and I just filled it with mindless entertainment for myself, and it was pointless. It just was pointless, you know. And I personally just think that friendships can bring a lot of purpose. You know, I mean, yeah, we're always constantly interacting with people, so why not be interacting with them in like a friendship-like manner, I guess, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just say because it's worth it, like you were saying. You know, it's just like it's one of the most worthwhile things you can do. And, you know, and it can be tough, you know, like we have so many distractions and the phone is always there. Like those kind of maybe more one-dimensional relationships on the phone are always available.
Right.
And so it can be kind of hard to, you know, sit with a person and kind of bear with those lulls in the conversation. But if you can push through those and, you know, continue to, you know, give and receive in a healthy way and friendships and stuff, like it's so worthwhile. Like, like you said, there's really nothing. Yeah, it's more about relationships.
Yeah, and because that's when I think, I mean, and again, this could be just for us or something, but you know, if I had a ton of money but nobody to share it with, like that's pointless. I'd much rather have
Yeah.
like the friends first, then go get the other stuff or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, it's important. It's important to think about. Not a lot of people do, I think.
totally.
Mhm.
Last time we did like a what inspires you, or what's something that we ended it with just something for people to go check out outside of
Yeah.
us that we
Yes,
thought
and
was
if I remember correctly, I went last time.
Damn it.
Sorry,
I
man.
knew you were going to
Sorry.
say that.
What can
See,
I
I
say?
brought it up
I'm
first
a
because I was
polite Canadian.
I brought it up first because I was hoping then like I would just ask you and you would just do it and then we'd end and it'd be cool. Because I
What?
haven't like
You haven't done anything this week that inspires you?
no.
Come on.
I have. I'm just I haven't like given it thought before I came into this, so I'm kind of like having a spitball now.
Oh man, you can
but-
do it. I have so much faith.
I would say, and this is this kind of goes along a little bit with like the friendships, or at least with like the deep thinking part of, you know, friendships and knowing kind of, I'm just kind of figuring, you know, out friendships and social media and how to deal with it. One of our friends, who we also went to high school with, has a blog. His name's Ethan Renault, and I think he blogs a lot about this kind of thing. He blogs a lot about, you know, loneliness, you know, depression, kind of the symptoms of social media, and maybe the you know, the care that we should have in dealing with them, or the downsides. And he's also just a overall around just great, solid guy. And I think a lot of his stuff has kind of inspired me over the years. He's been writing for a long time, since I like probably early into our college, I would say.
Yeah, like 6 years maybe.
Yeah,
5 or 6.
and so yeah. Anyway, he has a blog, EthanRenault.com, and that's Ethan Renou. Renault. Honestly,
Yeah, I
if
think
you just
so.
look up like hot Chicago shirtless runner, you'll
Yeah,
find
he's a
him
shirtless
online.
runner. If
Yeah.
you guys saw that viral video, he's that hot shirtless guy running.
So if you look up
Looks like
that
a-
guy,
Yeah.
that's him.
Yeah.
And okay, it's Renoe. That's how you
Nice.
spell his last name. But he's got a great
Renoe.
blog. Yeah, and he is I think he's doing great things, and I think he's part of, you know, seeing a friend kind of do bloggish online things. He's inspired me a lot, I think. And just like opening up, you know, to people. So
Totally.
that's why that's what I would point people towards, I think, this week.
All right. So go check out EthanRenault.com.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. All right.
Well, that's probably it for episode 2, unless you have any other final closing thoughts or jokes or SpongeBob quotes to add.
I don't think so. Okay, wait. I heard one the other day.
Yeah. No.
What? Why can't zoo animals take tests? Too many cheetahs.
You're well on your way to becoming a dad someday.
I know. I pretty much am already.
Oh, man.
Oh,
That's
man.
good.
Yep. On that note,
Yeah,
this has been really, really badly podcast.
it has. And we hope you come back.
Yes, please
Or-
do.
Whatever you want.
Whatever. We're not your boss.
We're not desperate.